Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Live here, and I'm not alone. I'm joined by the venerable, the wonderful Ollie. Hello.
Hello, people.
He's being awfully rude. But no, Ollie was a very, very lucky chap indeed, because he was very recently able to play an enormous number of different games that haven't come out yet on Nintendo Switch 2. We're going to be covering Pragmata, Mario Tennis Fever. I had to stop myself from saying aces so much then. Resident Evil Requiem, Mario Wonders Nintendo Switch 2 edition with Bellabel View Park or whatever it is, and Virtual Boy. Nintendo Switch Online or Nintendo Switch or Nintendo Classics or whatever it is they're calling it these days, which admittedly is a better name. We're going to start off with Pragmata because that's the one that I think is probably the least talked about. So, Ollie, you've played it on Switch 2. Tell us all about it.
I played it. Yeah.
Great. Right, moving on.
Yeah, next one. No, I played so the session we had was about 40 minutes. I did the demo in probably about 20 minutes, I would say. So I went back into it, played a bit of it again, and it's really, really good. It's really good. So you've got this basic setup of two protagonists. You've got Hugh and an android child called Diana. And Diana sort of climbs on Hugh's back, and that's how you sort of traverse through the world. So this demo was taking place in this kind of like a space station of sorts, and it's basically just getting you used to the controls. So you've got a few combat encounters, a few puzzles to go through, and then it ends on this boss battle. And the general controls are you've got these basic third-person shooting mechanics, but then Diana is able to hack into enemies, hack into puzzles, and that kind of gives you an advantage in combat as well. And the two of them combined are really good, really satisfying. I think if you took them apart, neither would be very compelling. But the hacking and the shooting together is wonderful. It's really, really clever. So when you hack into enemies, essentially you get this 4x4 grid that comes up on the screen, and you have to kind of traverse this grid, move the square over, and get to kind of the exit. But along the way, you've got these perks that you can pick up. So if you land on a certain tile, you get a bonus to your damage. Other tiles may kick you out of the puzzle entirely, so you have to start all over again. But all of this happens in about 2-3 seconds while you're still in combat. So you've got to kind of do a bit of multitasking. You've got to solve this puzzle while also, you know, keeping an eye on your position, keeping an eye on what the enemies are doing. It's really cool. It's really satisfying. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. And yeah, I can't wait to get my hands on it, to be honest.
Yeah, I recently saw the gameplay trailer because I think I'd seen maybe some sort of like story trailer or overview trailer, and I had no idea what was going on, which in a way is actually kind of fun. But I do think that it's one of those things where when I was watching the gameplay, I was looking at it and going, this is either going to be really good or strangely tedious, and you're gonna end up going, why can't I just shoot the thing? But it's good to hear that it does seem to be sort of marrying the two gameplay styles well. I got a little bit of a kind of astral chain vibe in the idea that you're kind of having to split your attention to a degree, and obviously Astral Chain was to action sequences. But do you think that's a reasonable assumption, or am I going bananas?
No, it's a decent comparison. Obviously, the gameplay is very, very different to Astral Chain in general. But yeah, that idea that you are kind of multitasking, you're kind of keeping an eye on one mechanic whilst also kind of just doing your general shooting mechanics, it is very similar. But yeah, as you said, there was definitely a risk of this being a little bit tedious, a little bit repetitive. But I think the fact that these puzzles literally take seconds, 2 or 3 seconds tops, it allows you to kind of just quickly do it and get back into the action. And also, you don't have to do it. You can just shoot the enemies as standard, and you can get through it like that if you want to. It's going to take you a long time, probably, but you know, you can do it. I think I saw someone doing the boss battle after I'd finished, and they weren't doing any hacking, nothing. They were just shooting this boss, and it was taking ages. I was just kind of stood there thinking, please just hack it once or twice. Just come on. But no, it's really satisfying, really quick, intuitive, and it works. I didn't think it would, but it works.
I want to just very quickly make it clear. I should have said this earlier in the video, but I didn't. I forgot. Unfortunately, we weren't able to capture at the event. The Nintendo very kindly invited us down to, and we were sent some B-roll for some of the games, but it was all just trailers. So unfortunately, we don't have anything new to show you visually, which apologies for that, but really is out of our hands. As a spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie, where do you feel it fits on the timeline?
I think it's a prequel.
I'm pleased you ran with that. It's just the first thing that I saw, and it's like, oh, one character on the back of another character. One track mind, I can't escape it. What was the voice acting like? Because I'm asking this question, but I'm well aware that you really didn't mind Metroid Prime 4 and the characters involved in that. But even so, how did you find the voice acting? Because I found it to be a little bit grating in what I saw.
Yeah, there wasn't much of it in the demo, admittedly.
Well, that's a positive thing for you.
Yeah.
If you don't like the voice acting, there's not much of it. Good.
Yeah. But at the end, there was a little cutscene at the end when you beat the boss, and I will say I really, really enjoy the dynamic between Hugh and Diana. So I mean, there's been a lot of games recently that's kind of explored this sort of kind of a father-daughter, father-son mechanic, but they've all been very, very depressing, very grim and dark, and the father character in particular is always very gruff, and I mean, The Last of Us comes to mind immediately.
It's the first thing I thought of as well.
Exactly. Yeah. But with this one, with Hugh and Diana, Hugh is really kind of quite lighthearted and whimsical. Like, I mean, after you defeat the boss at the end, he's there teaching Diana how to do a high five. It's brilliant. It's really nice. It's really lovely to see. Just
that's oddly
something
refreshing.
A bit different. Yeah.
Is there anything else about Pragmata that you'd really like to sort of gush about, or even forewarn people about?
It looks really nice.
Yes, of course, really performance.
Nice. Yeah.
Good God, what am I thinking? What are we looking at frame rate wise on Switch?
It was 30.
Because you were docked, weren't you?
It was docked. Yeah, it was definitely 30. There's no way I could mistake it for anything higher. But it was consistent. It was stable.
Okay.
And it ran pretty well. And it looks great. It looks a little bit muddy, a little bit fuzzy compared to the likes of, PC and PS5.
Of course it will, yeah.
It still looks pretty great. I mean, the art style is wonderful. The enemy design is fantastic. And yeah, it's up there with Star Wars Outlaws. It looks great, yeah.
I mean, it's running on, a computer the size of a postage stamp, so, we need to... There's going to be some considerations taken in that, but I'm really excited for it. I'm still a little bit, sort of voice acting and stuff like that, but, I'm sure if I need to, I can turn it off or something like that. I'll get over it. A good game can surpass that sort of stuff. Mario Tennis. You played for not quite as long, I believe.
Yeah, it didn't feel quite as long because I think we were just diving into these multiplayer matches, and they kind of go quite quickly. So it didn't feel quite as long. It could well have been about half an hour, 40 minutes, maybe. But I played Mario Tennis Fever. And you know what? It is more Mario Tennis.
Whoa!
If you like that sort of thing, you're going to be absolutely thrilled.
That's, that's the kind of hot take you can expect here at Nintendo Live. I mean, that's kind of the sense that I've got from the trailers and everything like that. Like, it doesn't look bad or anything like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, take us through the different game modes that you played.
So we played multiplayer matches. That was pretty much it. We played a couple of single matches and a couple of doubles matches. They weirdly made us just go on basic courts, grass courts, clay courts. And then right at the end, they were like, "Oh, do you want to try the Wonder Court?" We're like, "Yes, please." So yeah, eventually we tried the Wonder Court, and that was pretty cool. But yeah, we just dove straight into the tutorial. They made us play the tutorial. And then just a few multiplayer matches, and that was pretty much it. But I got to play as baby Waluigi. So
how was that?
Yeah.
Played very similarly to the other characters, I believe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
He doesn't have a different move set or anything like that, you know.
Not as I could tell. No. He may well do then, and I've just not discovered it in that short time. But no. But I will say the fever rackets and the fever shots, they definitely have the potential to kind of mix things up a little bit and add a layer of strategy into the game that's not been there before. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think what was most interesting is using the fever shot is not a guaranteed win. You're not guaranteed to get the point from it. If you're
you're not even guaranteed to have the fever shot affect the other players, because you can return it as well, can't you?
Exactly. Yeah. If you can volley it back before it hits the ground, you can just keep the rally going, and then it kind of becomes this risk reward kind of thing where you kind of like, okay, do I use the fever shot now? Have I got enough space? Are they going to get to it in time to return it to me? You got to figure this stuff out, and it's really cool. I mean, for example, I had an ink racket, which is similar to the ink that you find on Mario Kart. It covers the ground and you can get stuck on it, or it can go on your screen and obscure the view. So that was cool. So I used that thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna get this point easily. And they returned it. And I was like, oh no. And when I hit it back, I got the ink on my screen. So I used this shot, and then I got the disadvantage from it. And
was that, did you know whether that affected the other player as well? And so returning it was kind of like this risk reward thing? Or...
it didn't affect the other player. I think it is.
I wonder what the mechanics are then that define if you manage to return it before it hit the ground, why it was that you, unless it's just a chance thing.
It could well be. Yeah, it was difficult to kind of figure that out, but it's an interesting mechanic. I think it's really going to kind of mix things up quite a bit. So I'm looking forward to that, definitely.
Yeah, it's a shame you didn't get to play anything more interesting, like the adventure mode, or as you say, you managed to just about play the Wonder Court, but I suppose that gives us more to look forward to in a sense.
Yeah. The Wonder Court the Wonder Court in particular was confusing. I mean, we had no kind of context as to what was coming to us, but effectively, you're playing a standard match, and then eventually a Wonder Seed will come up. You hit the Wonder Seed, and then all of a sudden the court changes. These pipes come out of the ground, piranha plants everywhere. And the first time was kind of like, what do we do? And I can see that being quite a fun mode to play when the game comes out. But the very, very short time that we had was quite difficult to kind of figure out what we were doing.
Yeah, I can imagine. Performance, I imagine, was, rock solid 60. Yeah,
it was absolutely fine. It was very crisp, very clean, very smooth. Yeah.
What you would expect from a Mario Tennis game, basically.
Exactly. Or any first-party game, really.
Yeah. Okay, Resident Evil Requiem, or Resi 9, as it's known to its friends. I'm aware that the demo you played is a demo that has been available previously at different events like TGS and stuff like that. But tell us about it. I imagine you were potentially, again, we won't know this for certain, but you were probably playing a later build. So I'm really keen to hear about performance later on. But tell us about your time with the game, just how you enjoyed it, or if you didn't.
I did enjoy the game.
Oh, that's good.
I will say my heart dropped when they kind of explained what the demo would be, because I'm sure everyone's seen by now, there were a bunch of previews that went up probably about a week and a half ago, and that they were covering Leon's gameplay, Grace's gameplay, how they kind of connect with each other. And I knew it wasn't going to be that, because they, as far as I'm aware, that those previews were about 2 or 3 hours long. So I knew we weren't going to play that, but I thought to myself, okay, we've got less than a month to go now. Let's dig into the Leon's gameplay. Let's see how the two campaigns kind of connect with one another. Not two campaigns, but two characters. And then they said, what the demo would be, and I thought, no, that we've done that one already. Please, no. But no, it's the first time I've played it personally, so I was still very much looking forward to it, and it's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's, the vibes from that demo, which, as I'm sure everyone's seen already, it just stars Grace, and you're in this kind of very small, compact environment, just a few corridors, a few rooms, and you've got this stalker enemy that's kind of following you around and trying to get to you, and you've got to find this fuse to get out at the end, and it's very Resident Evil. Very Resident Evil 7 specifically.
Oh, good, because I really loved 7.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's aged wonderfully. That game has. It's nearly a decade old. Yeah.
Didn't need to know that.
Sorry.
Didn't need to be reminded. Performance though, obviously Switch 2 docked. Previous, the TGS preview I know for a fact was handheld. So you got to play docked. What are we looking at? I know that before they were aiming for 60, which feels a bit mad, but tell us about it.
It felt 60.
Okay.
That's what it felt like. I mean, but to caveat that, I mean, we went through a lot of kind of back and forth with the Final Fantasy 7 remake hands-on. I think we felt like that was 60, and then we thought, oh no, maybe it's 30. And it just shows that these developers are getting better at making really kind of solid, stable games, even if they are just locked at 30. So yeah, the Requiem demo definitely felt like it was at 60. I don't know if it is 60 specifically, but it felt very, very smooth. It looks great. Again, same with Pragmata. It's not as crisp or clean as you're gonna find on the PS5 or the PC or the Xbox, but it looks good enough, really, and that's about as much as we can hope for. It looks pretty darn good, honestly.
Would you say that visually, in terms of like the little downgrades and stuff like that on Switch 2, it was kind of equivalent to something like Final Fantasy 7 Remake? Or would you say it's a little bit? I think not quite as.
It's not quite as impressive. I think Final Fantasy 7 Remake. There are certain moments in that game where you think that there is absolutely no difference here. Really, it
is phenomenal, but
it's ridiculous. Yeah,
that's targeting 30. It's targeting half the frames in theory.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but no, Requiem looks brilliant. I think specifically in the characters, you can definitely tell that there's been some downgrades there. The environments look wonderful. They really do. They look great.
Excellent. So the next one, and we've already chatted briefly about this, but not on camera. Super Mario Brothers Wonder plus Bellabel Meetup in Bellabel Park. Tell us about it. You played for how long, sir?
So again, this was probably about half an hour, I would say. So this was purely focused on the multiplayer modes, or the attractions, as they call them. So yeah, I mean, my excitement for this anyway was not sky high. I think when they announced this game and they said what was coming with it, I think everybody wanted more levels, more worlds, brand new areas to explore. We're getting a little bit of that, but not really in the context that we'd hoped for. So, we're getting multiplayer modes, we're getting these challenges with the Toad Brigades, the Koopalings are coming back, Rosalina's in it. There's a lot of stuff, but not necessarily what we want. And so this hands-on preview was very much focused on those multiplayer modes. And so I played one co-op minigame and maybe 3 PvP games. So I can't remember the names of them specifically.
Okay, and that took you half an hour, so they're fairly substantial, or?
Not really. I mean, that half an hour was, taken up by Nintendo reps chatting to us and setting everything up and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, they are quite brief. So the co-op mode these are all 4 players. So the co-op mode we played, 2 players were directly controlling the characters. 2 other players were using mouse mode to directly place donut blocks on the screen. So those ones that kind of fall down when you land on them. So the aim of the game is just to get to the end of the level. So the people controlling the donut blocks, they create platforms, bridges, all this kind of stuff to help you along the way. And it sounds pretty cool in theory. In practice, it was a little bit messy. Particularly with having 2 players controlling the mouse mode. We're all placing donut blocks all over the place, and it just kind of got a little bit confusing. So
does it sort of feel like it would make more sense as more of a sort of a 2-player with 1 player?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that could be the case. I suspect you will be able to do that. I suspect even if you do have 4 players, you'll be able to have 3 players controlling the characters and then just 1 player doing the mouse mode.
It seems to make more sense. Yeah.
It does make more sense, but how they had it set up, it was 2 and 2. And it was messy. It was very, very messy. It was fun at times. That there are moments where you have to kind of use the donut blocks to guide enemy projectiles to specific locations. So you have to do a little bit of thinking in that regard. But it didn't do anything for me. It really didn't. So, yeah, that was a bit disappointing.
Okay.
The other 3 modes were PvP. So 2 of them were just basic races. One of them, you're in this kind of just this flying vehicle, and you've got to, pass through these boost pads and all this kind of stuff. And then the other one, you're all kind of rolled up in bowls, and you kind of just got to bounce across the map. And, you've got different kind of diagonal ledges that you can kind of bounce off and get momentum. It was cool. It was decent. They each lasted maybe about a minute. And it's quite nice at the end if you can get kind of like a photo finish, because everyone kind of stays roughly in the same position. No one's going to kind of get way ahead. So at the end, because
you're all sharing a screen anyway, aren't you? So
exactly, yeah. So at the end, you're going to get kind of like a photo finish, and you're going to kind of be like, oh, who's got it? Who's won? So that's kind of nice, but again. Ultimately, these games, they feel like mini games from a Mario Party title.
Yeah.
That's what they feel like. And within that context, if you're playing a board game and you go into these mini games, that'd be great. They'd be wonderful. But you've got to consciously choose to play these games separately. And I just don't think anyone's going to bother doing that. I'm not going to bother doing it.
That's something I've often wondered, that when Mario Party games will have like, a mode that's just the mini games. It's like, no. That's like just being served ham. I need the bread. I need you need that context there in order for it to make sense. So yeah, I suppose as a party game, we just have to wait and see. This is one of the problems of only being able to play for such a short amount of time. But I suppose we'll see. And performance? What are we looking at here?
It's smooth. It's exactly what you come to expect. I
imagine it was nice and crisp.
I did make note of that. It was very clean. It was very vibrant. It looked really, really nice. That's not going to be enough to make me spend $16.99 in the UK,
like
$19.99 in the US for the upgrade pack. I'm not going to bother getting it. It's really, really not been showcased very well, to be honest. Yeah.
But we'll see. Hope I'm sure we'll have a review go out at some point, maybe after launch. It depends with how these things work. But with any luck, we'll have a more overall impression that we can share. So keep an eye out for that. But before that, we've got one last little bitty baby thing to talk about, and that's Virtual Boy, which you got to play for, and I believe I'm correcting this, about 5 minutes.
Yeah, about 5 minutes. Yeah. So it was funny how it was set up. They allowed us to play the Virtual Boy pretty much during our lunch break. So it was kind of a rush. Everyone was kind of like, I think everyone was starving. So the main port of call was the food. But after that, everyone was kind of rushing to go play the Virtual Boy. So yeah, I played about 5 minutes of it. I got to kind of just have a little tinker around with the settings. I jumped into Wario Land a little bit, Red Alarm, Tetris. Just 3 games, just a little dip in the water just to see what they're like. Honestly, it's really, really cool.
Yeah?
I really like it. Yeah. It's there's a novelty to it that kind of lets it stand apart from like the 3DS. It's very heavy when the Switch 2 is in there. Obviously, the Switch 2 was kind of inserted by default with these machines. We couldn't take them out. We weren't allowed to kind of fiddle around with them like that. But they're very heavy, very kind of well made, well built. I do wish that they had the Virtual Boy controller, like kind of built with it.
Yeah.
That's really disappointing. I imagine they'll probably come out with that at a later date, just to really squeeze everyone out from the money, But yeah, that was disappointing. But as an experience, it was really, really cool. I mean, when you look into it, you can kind of adjust the screen size just through the app, like you do with GameCube or anything like that. Like when you change the controls, you can change the screen size.
Okay.
You can make it big enough so that the edges kind of fade out, kind of like as if they're kind of breaking through the boundaries of your peripheral vision, and it's really quite effective. It's really cool. Yeah,
that's something that's usually like a side effect of stuff like this. Like I've done like augmented reality glasses and stuff like that, and you sometimes lose the corners a bit like that. It's not something you inherently want, but it's kind of cool that they've, as an option, options, I've said it before, I'll say it again, are always really, really good. So it's nice that they're including that. I don't want to drop you in it, but have you played an original Virtual Boy?
No.
No. Almost no one has. I mean, it was never even released in this country. I want to make that clear.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, it really isn't. I was just going to ask how it compared to the original, but,
yeah,
it probably gives you fewer
say.
Headaches because it's higher resolution technically, and the screen will be nicer.
Yeah. I wish I could say, but no, unfortunately not. All I can say is that I for some reason I had this thing on pre-order from day one. Don't ask me why. I did, but this hands-on session did thankfully reinforce that decision. I am really looking forward to having it, and even if I don't play it very often, it's going to look cool on my shelf. It's a really interesting device. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. Okay. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us about this wonderful trip to Frankfurt you had?
I held the talking flower.
Oh. How was that?
It's a talking flower. I mean, it wasn't the best environment to kind of have a look at it because it was very loud, very busy. So I literally had to kind of hold it up to my ear to hear what it was saying. Yeah, it's fine. It's a talking flower. Yeah.
Yeah, it does strike me as I don't know who the audience is meant to be other than idiots like us that might buy something like that.
Yes.
Just to say we have it. And even then, I do not like the talking flowers in Mario Wonder, so I'm not getting it.
Hey,
how about that? Anyway, Ollie, thank you so much for coming along and sharing all that information with us. And thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you take that subscribe button to Frankfurt and show it a really good time. And be sure to check out NintendoLife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.